Hi everyone, this is Alex Theodorou, and you're listening to the Startup Sit Down. Everyone, Alex here. I am super excited to be featuring another awesome Techstars portfolio company, the one and only Hamza Shaikh from Stabl. Interesting background and even more interesting story of the origins of how this all came to be, but I'll let him tell a little bit more about that. Hamza is a graduate from the University of Toronto and later went on to complete his CPA in accounting and has now started this big, bold, audacious dream of taking on the world of innovation with Stabl. So thank you, Hamza, for coming in.
Hello. Thank you for having me, man.
My pleasure. All right. So tell us a little bit about Stabl. Where did it come from? What's the story? Tell us a bit about that.
So Stabl is a digital health platform that's using live motion analysis to facilitate at-home post-op recovery for patients coming out of orthopedic surgery. So we're literally using laptop or tablet cameras to track a patient's joints while they perform their recovery exercises, analyzing it for their biomechanics, their range of motion, exercise adherence, and inputting a lot of patient-reported measures as well. So a clinician can remotely monitor how a patient's recovery is being done while it's entirely being done from home. So they always have that accurate image to really democratize and move post-op recovery into a patient's home.
Yeah, and that's amazing though. You know, it's you're taking what seems like a very frictionless experience, and now with COVID, I'm sure everyone's well acquainted with the use of webcam, and you've kind of turned this into something more, you know, like you're empowering people through such simple technology.
Yeah, and like COVID really sparked the idea behind the platform. Not only did digital health get a huge spotlight in those years, you and I are both from Toronto, so it kind of COVID was a bit extreme over there in lockdown and stuff like that. So we had a lot
Right.
of time to really experience it. And you just learn about how just being in that hospital setting in that environment, people were contracting the virus. And so if you can eliminate those unnecessary appointments and those post-op appointments and take them home, but still maintain that patient-provider relationship, then you're able to drive new levels of healthcare efficiencies and really optimize patients' lives during that post-op phase to make sure that their recoveries are smooth and they're really just engaged throughout the whole process.
Yeah, and maybe tell us a little bit about like, so I know it's post-op. I know this is obviously a very critical time in the rehab process, but rehab can generally occur in many other phases, right? You've got acute, you've got even prehab for people. There's post-acute, there's like post-op, and then there's the journey that follows. So why did you choose post-op?
Yeah, that's really where ideation and conversations drive your business idea. So you have this passion and you have this spark, but you really have to let other people and conversations dictate where the company goes.
Mm,
So we had a general idea of we wanted to do, something on the physical health, and that was passion driven, expertise driven as
right.
well. And then understand, and this is where my co-founder Abhinav has come so valuable, is that he was always, you had to convince him first before you can convince anyone else. So,
Mhm.
I would pitch this idea of, okay, let's do a physical therapy solution so patients can recover in any case from home. And then he would always pose a question, but why would a patient use it, right? Like, what is the demand on either side of the patient provider relationship to make your platform essential? And then you go down the idea path of, okay, so when is physical recovery or physical health at its apex in priority? Surgery, right? When you come out of a surgery, you have the incentive intrinsically to recover and you want to make that physical recovery at the highest. So you not only are you playing into an individual's like personal motivations to recover, but now you're giving them all the tools and information to do so as well, creating a stickiness and an immediate demand for your platform. And then you engage all of these industry trends of value-based care, of post-op kind of importance of kind of like the pressure clinicians are under to make sure the patients recover well. And then you tie in a lot of the inefficiencies on the patient side, getting in a car, driving, taking time off work.
Right.
All these things kind of play into and create so much demand around what you're building that you just have to execute on your plans and the demand kind of drives itself.
Right. And you know, you mentioned something interesting here that I wanted to kind of double click on. And the idea was you started with a few questions, and that question, the journey of you know, being inquisitive and getting more information. Were there any pivotal questions that you asked with maybe thought leaders that really propelled you to go in this direction?
It's like you take hunches and hypotheses and then you just test them. So I don't think any conversation I had took me down a unknown path because I'd been doing my research and kind of understanding the market as well. But you'd always have this hunch of, okay, surgeons complete surgery and then they either refer a patient out or they send them home. I think that they find it really annoying that they don't know how that's going. And then you go out to surgeons and you ask them, like, is this true? Is this um, kind of like a problem? And, for a lot of the conversations, you don't even ask them to validate your question. You ask them what their problem is, and then them telling you the first thing kind of validates it for you. And so that's really where it kind of dug deeper into how we can add value to what we're doing, and really just drove our company direction.
Yeah, no, that's incredible. And maybe tell us a little bit about what you're doing right now. What's kind of the company up to? Where are you?
Yeah,
Where is
it's
it?
it's t- I don't know what I can and can't say, so I'm trying to be as detailed
As you
as
can.
I possibly can. So we're here in Fort Worth with you in TechStars. Huge opportunity, great opportunity for the company to grow and tap into this massive network of alumni, and it's already proving to be pays rewards essentially. We're scaling across private practice orthopedic surgeons, which is massive in Texas, Florida. Those are kind of like the two main hubs
Right.
for a lot of these private practice clinicians. So another reason why we jumped at the opportunity to come down to Fort Worth.
Right.
And so now we're connecting with a lot. We're finding some value in specific orthopedic specialties that we're just trying to double down on and explore more right now. But we're realizing that being here physically has played such a important role in how we communicate and build relationships that we're just doubling down and growing on that. We do have a research study at a national orthopedic hospital, like a top tier one. Starting in a couple of weeks, we have a huge opportunity with a government entity that we're trying to launch into in a couple months as well. So, kind of all we're firing on all cylinders, looking to grow and really
You're
just
hiring?
execute. We are hiring, so we're bringing in our first engineer, Andre, he's a huge add-on to the team. Great person, great vibes. Figuring out how to hire is a big stress point for a lot of startups, but I think he's going to be a great addition, and I think we're just trying to find the right person and stay as lean as we can at this stage.
Yeah, no, I think that's incredible. And I think what's really cool to me though is where it is now. And I've been fortunate enough to see a bit of a sneak peek. And for those listening, we'll be able to provide some access to individuals who want to learn more, get in touch with Hamza, the team, just stay connected. But we'll share that in the episode. So stay tuned. But in the meantime, what I would like to learn about is what were the earliest iterations of Stable? Was it even called Stable? Let us know a little bit
Yeah,
about where did it start from?
it was called Stable from day one.
Okay.
Well, day one, like we incorporated under a Canadian entity, and so I didn't know what name it was, so we just took a number. It was like 106 Canada
Yeah,
Inc.
yeah,
Like whatever
yeah.
it was. I'm like, okay, I'll figure out the name
Go
thing
with the
later.
corporate code.
Yeah, yeah. So we just need an entity.
Yeah.
And so then I went through one of those name generators, kind of found the word stable, and I'm like, this sticks. Like it sounds good.
Yeah.
You drop the E, now you're a tech startup.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
drop a couple of letters here and there.
I feel like in Texas, stable has more of a horse connotation, like
Yeah.
horse in a stable.
Yeah, for sure,
but
sure.
yeah,
And then
stability nonetheless. Yeah.
our first iteration was, so when I wanted to bring Abhinav on as a co-founder, again, I had to convince him that we were building something. So he told me to go draw what I thought the product would be.
Nice.
And I really want to find that picture because it is horrendous, but it was someone moving
Definitely
their head
memorable.
left and right, and we're
Yeah,
doing the range of
okay.
motion analysis on it in a mobile phone. Like, this is what I want. And he said, okay, we're not going to do that yet. But are the first iterations, I still have the Snapchat stories and I get them every year of what the product was. And every year it was like he would launch something, he would build something, and I'd be like, this is it, this is amazing. And I would take a picture of it and be like, this is going to change everything. Right. And then, months would go by and he'd iterate another, version of it. And I'd be like, this is the one.
Yeah.
Like everything he built was just gold. And now look to see where our platform is today. Like, I'm excited. I'm so proud of all the work he's done and proud of our team. But I can't, I'm just not letting myself believe that that's it. Like he's going to do better and we have more coming. Yeah. And now it's just sky's the limit. We're just going to push from there.
And that's the thing. And I think the beauty of what we're working on here, right? And especially what you guys are doing is that there's always room to improve. And I think, and once you embrace that imperfection, you can start to see it for what it could be. You think ahead, you start to dial in your craft and understand, like what you thought was good, 20, you guys started when?
A year ago, a
A
year and a half
year.
ago.
Okay, wow, that's
Yeah.
incredible. So a year and a half ago, your mindset, your version of what good product readiness was is probably way different than what it is now, and will continue to evolve. So I think it's incredible to see that you've kind of, grabbed this and you're continuing to make it a success.
Yeah, like I think the past years taught me, and what I've learned on my side of the role is like the founder and CEO side is you just got to keep dreaming bigger. Like, you got to dream and be on the visionary side of things. And you'll learn this when any of the companies go through kind of like fundraising and venture capital is they aren't investing. And I don't know where I read this, or like, I don't read. Okay. So I watch on YouTube for starters. But investors aren't investing in what you did. So you putting up a traction slide and pushing everything you've done isn't as valuable as you think because they're investing in your future. Because the money they put in is going to show out in the next few years.
Of
So
course.
the conversation and the way you think about your company, the way you think about yourself has to be big and it has to be a valuable thing for the future.
And forward thinking.
Exactly. And you really have to just look at it that way. And I'm very blessed to have the investors we have. And I think it's really taught me how to push the company up and really not just be along for the ride in this industry, but to be leading it.
Yeah. And I'd love to learn a little bit about what's your strategy. So I know as founders, we always have to almost look into this crystal ball and say, yes, of course, the 5-year future of Stable will be this. And we both know deep down that it's probably not going to be
Yeah.
exactly that. So what inspires you to kind of look ahead, and how do you kind of keep your sights set on what the future looks like, and how do you convey that to your investors and people on the other side of the table?
It's like a balance of knowing what you're good at and knowing where you want to be.
Mm.
So again, my team of Abhinav and Andre and kind of just like everyone behind me, I will always bet on them against everyone else. So I know we can execute on anything and everything. And so it's really just allowed me to kind of dream big. And not only that, but look at where the market is going, seeing where, okay, you have to know that in 5 years, these problems will come up. Even with your product, even with the new products that are out there, there's these areas that I foresee that not only we can solve, but we will be pushing the limit of what this industry is capable of, which is exactly what I've pitched for Stable that what we're building towards. And I want to be able to listen back to this podcast in 5 years and be like, I did execute on that. We are where we said we were.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And maybe let's talk a little bit about the market kind of receptivity to this, because you guys are fairly leading edge. You've taken a fairly well ubiquitous technology like webcam, and you've turned it into something so much more. What has been the receptiveness and the overall maybe knee-jerk reactions from professionals in this space?
Yeah, so it's a balance. So when you talk to people on the tech side, they're not easily amazed. And even today with Stable, they're
Interesting.
like, computer vision's been around, right? Like Tesla's been using it for years. Other companies are doing this as well.
Okay.
Like you guys aren't changing the wheel or doing anything crazy there. So
Interesting.
that's where we have to answer on a more strategic and value driven level.
Right.
So it's being used in healthcare, but it's not being used like this. And by doing it like this, in 5 years, this is what we're going to do. And then they're like, okay, I see that. I see that playing out, right? And then on the clinician side, clinicians see this tech out there. Some have never seen it before. They're amazed. Works our advantage. But some of them have seen it out there, but the solutions don't engage them. So us saying, look, we're going to give you this tech that you did not historically have access to, and now you can improve your patient care. It has proven to kind of reap its reward so far.
Interesting. And so just I want to go back on that for a second. So you mentioned that the clinicians haven't seen the tech favorable for them. I'm assuming it's been more like client and patient centered exclusively, as almost like a homework or an engagement tool. Whereas I guess you guys are empowering the professionals through this application.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of the solutions that are leading or kind of like created the path for us to follow are direct to consumer, so they're self-operated. They require, a motivated individual to really treat themselves and use the tech in more of a chronic pain use case. And so us taking that tech, flipping it into post-op, engaging clinicians, and driving a whole new level of clinical engagement has proven to be a value add for us for
Yeah.
what we're going into.
Yeah. And maybe let's talk a little about what you are going into. Like what is lying ahead for you guys? Is there anything you can kind of share a sneak peek into as to, so we've seen kind of the story, we've heard a little bit about, what the impact you're having, the traction you're seeing, clearly investment that is, kind of nurturing
Mhm.
this opportunity. But where is it going?
Yeah, it's growth. We're really looking to scale and build out the company in the coming years and months. We're figuring out this whole sales avenue now. And historically, never had experience in healthcare sales, but um, we're figuring it out on a whim. And Abhinav's proven that he can build out the product. So as long as I can sell it, we should be able to hit our goals that we have in front of us.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I have no doubt in my mind
Yeah.
you can sell it. I think it's just about just kind of mapping that journey. I think is really exciting to hear, and I, from what I know about you guys so far, and from what I've learned, I feel like you guys have had so much confidence and your like clarity of thought, and I think that's really the hardest thing to cultivate, right? And I think the sales just become an inevitability if you can line
Mhm.
those characteristics up. Um, yeah, so I mean, like, I guess I just wonder is, you know, so we're working here. You're working, and it's a platform that works on the computer. Does it also have a like a phone based functionality for more portability, or where does it live on the
Yeah.
technical
Again,
use
this is
case?
you'll learn this in fundraising. It's on the product roadmap, and
Right,
that's your get out of jail free card. Everything is on the product roadmap.
right,
Everything and anything. So Avino's working on the mobile side of things. It's in expected kind of like next year ish. We're gonna
sure,
work there. We learned that in the post op space, the demographic we're working with, they prefer and are able to better utilize a larger screen. So that's why the laptop and the tablet kind of work in our favor. And then on top of that, just the way he builds and ships the code, we don't really want to play around and get stuck in those slogs of App Store pushing
right,
updates and kind of all those notes that we have to kind of build out until we've strongly validated it and we understand the value a mobile app would deliver.
yeah,
And this is a learning I had to do because when I first started, I was like, Abhinav, we need a mobile app, mobile, everything's mobile.
right,
And he's like, relax,
yeah.
like, we'll figure it out. And, having someone like that on your team is very
Yeah.
helpful.
And I think you're right, and I think being kind of our age, and being kind of in this society now, everything seems to be mobile first, right? But I think with what you guys are doing, you need the real estate on the screen. You need that kind of comfort, flexibility, accessibility,
Mhm.
right? Because I think access to a computer is a lot more commonplace than access to a high-end cell phone with certain specifications,
Mhm.
and so forth. So I think it seems to be a strategic move, and I think obviously you guys have a very robust roadmap, and with that, what I wanted to also comment on was a bit about, you know, so we know that's post-op recovery. Any specific injuries or surgeries or types of things you're focusing in on?
We're not limited in terms of capability and like skill. It's more so just about being strategic and efficient with the way you build a product. So right now we've owned in on knee replacements and knee surgeries,
Okay,
and that's a strategic decision.
right,
We built it out in that method, and it's just as we grow, we're going to roll it out. It's nothing
right,
we're not capable of doing.
yeah,
It's just doing it in a streamlined way because we don't want to build and then find customers. We wanted to methodically find the customers first,
yeah,
connect with them, prove it out, and then be the best at one thing,
yeah.
and then go on to the next.
For sure. So it starts with the knee. Is there any rationale behind it? Is it a more commonplace injury? Is it a more, maybe difficult to engage these individuals?
Yeah. So knee replacements are probably one of the most common orthopedic surgeries
Okay.
done in the U.S. and Canada. There's over a million done every year. The sheer volume of them drives the demand for our solution. On top of that, knee replacement patients are same day discharge. where they're getting surgery in the morning and they're being sent home at night to recover. So a lot of that recovery is done from home. Third is the protocol for a knee replacement is been researched and standardized so much that for us to build it, we can not only sell to surgeons out in New York, out in Canada, and Toronto, but also we can flip it to Texas. And no surgeon has yet to say we want to change significant things in this protocol to our methodology. So it made it really easy for us to create one thing and push it, as opposed to building out this whole library of exercises to cater to a wide diverse of clinician methodologies for protocol and recovery.
Yeah. And so I completely understand where you're coming from with that. And what you got me thinking a bit with, so starts with the knees, where other, because there's lots of links in this body mechanics in the chain, right?
Right.
It's similar can be said with the hips. I know for my own family, that those who have had hip replacement surgery, it looks like such a very invasive procedure, and yet they're out the same day as well, right?
Right.
And the hip, bears a lot of weight, much like the knee. So
Yeah.
what other kind of links in the
Yeah,
chain
so
are you looking?
we're going to expand into hip replacements soon, and then we're looking to expand either in orthopedics or neuro or sports. Like that's where again our customers will drive where our product goes, and that's why discovery and connecting with them can never stop. And so it's really just where they want it to go, we'll take it, and then just go from there.
Yeah, that's exciting. And what are you most excited about looking forward?
I don't know, man. It's just like every day is like super fun. Like I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm doing it and we're moving. And I seem I come off as a guy with a plan and it's very strategic. It's just I think I looked in the mirror not knowing what to do so many times that I've kind of like molded this plan, but on the day to day is just like going where it takes you essentially.
Mm,
Um, so I'm just excited to see, where the new year goes. This year was massive for us. We're ending it on probably like the highest note. It's been a life changing year, but um, next year I expect it to be better. And so this time next year, I don't know where we'll be, but I'm excited to see where it goes.
yeah, well, that's amazing. Well, thank you so much, Hamza, for the amazing story and the journey, and being part of this exciting recovery process for post-operative patients and clinicians alike. So, thanks for coming in.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you for having me.